Don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications on. Moving on to the next point, Wasim bhai, as you're, mashallah, you're a father of...
A proud father of four.
Four, mashallah. What advice as a parent, because the reason I've done this talk today, madrasa related, is number one, I have worked in the madrasa. But number two, I'm also a parent. So now my child within the next year or two will be going to madrasa. So what advice would you give myself as a parent and other parents out there on what activities parents can do with their children to keep them attached to the deen? And not just that, but also keep them bonding with their children, because that's an important thing.
Yes,
that
I was
parents
going to
need
mention
spend time with their children.
That one's related to the other. If you become friends with your children, it'll automatically benefit both of you, the child and the father, that tomorrow when you try to get him into the madrasa or teach him certain things, or you want him to do the hifz, for example, or you could quite easily do these things. I read somewhere once that you didn't download your children. So don't use social media, don't use the consoles to babysit them.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is, in a 2020 household, if you were to look in somebody's window in the evening, which you shouldn't, but if you were, you would see that in most houses, the mother, she would be in one corner, probably with the iPhone in her hand, or whichever phone it is in her hand, and just head down and just playing whatever. You'd see the parent lying on the sofa, going through the smart television and going on whatever channel you want. You'll see the daughter on a laptop, and you'll see the son on the console. And it's got to a level where you see 4 or 5 family members in one room, all strangers. Everybody's doing their own thing, and nobody is really sitting or interacting with one another, because everybody just wants to play with their consoles or their electronic toys. So the only time you could make them all come together is by switching the router off. If you switch the computer, if you switch the internet off, you'll see they'll come out from corners. They'll come from wherever. They'll come from the kitchen, from the bedroom. They'll all come downstairs. And I mentioned once before that I used to be a telephone engineer, and when I used to go to homes to fix people's internet, they used to welcome me like a paramedic would be welcomed. Like inside, it's over there, and I'm thinking that I'm going to go and find a dead body. Then they want me to electrocute them, bring them back to life. But it's the orange light was flashing on the router. Okay. So this is how much we depend, is nearly as important as oxygen, our internet has become. Yeah. So first and foremost, what we need to do is have mobile free days, internet free days, and spend time with our children. Yeah. Play with them, spend time with them. If somebody heard us saying this 20, 30 years ago, that the advice somebody's giving to other parents is play with your children, they'd be thinking, what's the world turned into? But that's the harsh reality, that we don't spend time with our children. So firstly, we need to spend time with them, get rid of anything, any distractions. So your phones, your computers, get rid of all these. Spend some days, every Wednesdays, every Sunday, switch your phones off. No contact to the outside world through your phone. Spend time with your children. Play with them. Just be friends. And then moving on, then when it comes to things like the ijtima, proactively go yourself, take your children with you. There's an example, somebody said in a bayan that when you take your child to Jummah namaz, and only Jummah namaz, when he's older, the only namaz he'd probably pray is Jummah namaz, because that's the only tarbiyat you did of that. That's the only training you gave him. So things like this, we need to look at that. We need to get them in the habit of not just praying Jummah namaz, but all 5. But we can only do this if we lead by example, if we be close to them. The older generation used to work 2 jobs. They didn't used to spend a lot of time with their children, and a lot of children of that generation, there's a wall. There was no open discussions between the father and the child. For a child, the parents, the father is a superhero. If anything happens, can I ride on your bike? No, my dad said I can't give it nobody. You're like, it was my dad said. If you're smoking bullied, I won't tell my dad. It wasn't going to tell the boys. Yeah, I won't tell them. Somewhere down the line, it got changed from it was cool to hang with dad. It was cool to chill with the father. To all of a sudden, I'm ashamed to be with you in public. So
what's going
that
on?
in between, that breakdown in relationship that's what we need to target, and we need to keep that. Your dad's the superhero all the way through, and inshallah that way they'll
It's a
spend.
very good point that you said there about the superhero, because I remember myself is when you're kids, you go to not just your mother and your father, you just feel that your mother and father know everything, because whenever you ask them something, they've always got an answer, and to yourself, you're like, when you think the cleverest person in the world, my mom and dad, they know everything. Do you know what I mean? And you're right. Where has it gone from
wanting to be in their company to
wanting to be
opposite.
in their company, they know everything, to all of a sudden
the complete opposite.
you're opposite, I know better. You know what I mean? So that's a valid point that you've mentioned there. Jazakallah.